When we say agric, we look at crops, we look at animals, we look at fisheries, we look at soil, we look at the environment. Agric is a very broad area. But mainly when we talk of agric in Ghana, people try to look at only crop farming, and they try to forget about the animal side and then the fishery side. But when we look at agric productivity, we are looking at crops, animals, and fisheries. From survey that we have, we know that about 60 to 80% of the Ghanaian population are into farming in one way or the other.
In 2009, the contribution of agriculture to GDP stood at 31.9%, falling to 22% in 2013. Currently, the Ghana Statistical Service puts agric's contribution to GDP to as low as 12.2%. For the first quarter of 2016, it recorded 4,345.5 million Ghana cedi as compared to 1,626.3 million Ghana cedi for the same period in 2009. Its contribution, though high, has recorded some percentage decline. While some believe this poor performance is as a result of a lack of modernization, others say individual subsectors have not done badly, but have only been overtaken by the sectors such as services. The average population of farmers currently falls within the old age bracket. David Kabu is a mango farmer and the 2009 National Best Farmer.
If you have the produce, you go to the market is there. You have a big market for mangoes. I keep saying that mango is green gold. Do you understand me? And mangoes, cocoa doesn't come anywhere close to mango. We've managed to enter into some sort of agreement with VegPro. VegPro, they supply directly to Tesco and Marks and Spencer because they have the seal. You know, they are one of the biggest in Kenya and they're also here now. So Cotton Weblink entered some sort of agreement with them. So we're going to ship about 40 containers. But then Global Gap, when our Global Gap certification expired, the Global Gap World said we should log on to option 5. We took a longer time. So by the time the certification came, the fruits were over-matured. The bricks were higher than you could do by sea. So we couldn't do anything. So you see all the cottons around. And so we are hoping that the binary season will do about 80 containers from here, if all goes well. That is what we are saying, that we create a lot of employment because we have 2 shifts running. The packhouse basically, you see here, is Rolls Royce. It does 5 metric tons an hour. So it means for 4 metric tons, for 4 hours, you have 20 metric tons, which is a full container. So for 8 hours, you are doing 2 containers.
He identifies some challenges crop farmers face.
The research stations need to be really re-equipped to be able to do most of the things. Because, for instance, if you come to the mango sector, one of our major challenges are fruit flies. And fruit flies is regional issue. Do you understand? And we felt that by now, government should have taken a holistic view in tackling fruit flies as against what we are doing, the farmers themselves are doing on their own, like what they did with cocoa mass spraying and other things. That's what we are expecting successive government to do under fruit flies.
Livestock is one of the important subsectors that have been virtually overlooked. The livestock subsector contributes to the economy in many ways, even though its contribution to the GDP and food intake for the population are relatively low as compared to the crop subsector. Livestock contributed 7.1% to the growth of agriculture in 2016 first quarter. The poultry industry is a component of the livestock sector which has not been given adequate attention over the years.
They dump their poultry products here.
Francis Hammond is a former CEO of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association. He says the challenges affecting the industry are many.
If you talk about poultry, whether you are into broiler production or layer production, what are we talking about? Let's get to the basic. We are talking about day-old chicks, then after, which is imported. So from the word go, you are importing a day-old chick, which will be far higher in cost to anybody in any of those countries that we are referring to, whether it's USA or Brazil or even England. You know, once you import it to Ghana, the unit cost plus other charges, you know, so you start. But let's say that the cost of the chick is not too much. But when it comes to production, the poultry feed, what goes into the poultry feed? You are talking about the energy source, which is maize, and then the protein source, mainly soya, and sometimes fish meal. You know, all these three key ingredients are imported. Majority are imported. If you come to the vitamins, the trace minerals, and everything that goes to the feed also, it's also imported. So definitely, by the time, no matter how efficient you are, by the time you finish and you have a bag of feed, whether it is a broiler starter or chick starter, the price is already gone up. Most of the banks now, if you go there and you want to seek financial assistance for poultry, I'm sure 100% will not give you. They will tell you it's high risk. Because in their books, years back, there were a lot of farmers who went for loans and they didn't pay.
In the past few years, successive governments have implemented several policies to boost agriculture. These have, however, yielded limited results.
There are policies, but as to whether we are implementing them is a problem. The challenges in the fertilizer subsidy years back was that we don't bring the fertilizers on time, and that has been a problem. But I think this particular season, I realized that the fertilizer came in just on time.
Agric Information and Communication Service Provider, ISOCO, thinks that low agric productivity levels are largely as a result of over-reliance on the weather. Content Manager of ISOCO, Gordon Kote, advocates serious irrigation to boost agric productivity and to enhance all year-round production.
Our major challenge today, as I said earlier on, is the climate change issues that are overing the whole world now. Why is our major challenge? Because we are depending on the rainfall to survive. So if there's any change in rainfall, there's definitely a change in our productivity, which will affect the people in the country. In terms of the climate change, we only have to make our irrigation facilities viable. If our irrigation facilities are down, we will not be able to do it. We have a lot of irrigation dams up north. We have a few down south. We still have the Afan plains over there. We have the Accra plains over there. We can irrigate all these areas and make money out of agriculture. In fact, we have the water when after Pong, when you go to Adan, you look at all that water body, that water line over there. We cannot use it to generate electricity again. We need to find a way of bringing that water into the Accra place, and we can make good use of it over there. Exports is picking up gradually, and there are a lot of things that goes into the productivity before we can export. We have to look at our chemical levels in the protein. There are so many things that a farmer has to do. We have what we call the Global Gas certification, we have the Green Alliance certification, we have the Green Forest certification, and all these certifications, one have to be certified with all of them before you can say that this my produce is going to this particular European market. And it costs a lot of money to get certified. So some of our farmers who get certified are the few who are able to export their produce. But I can say this year, for example, I know of some farmers who have exported a lot of mangoes to the EU market, which they were able to meet the standards that they are looking for. In terms of the vegetables, the VEPRO is also doing well in organizing the farmers very well to at least meet the standards that is required so that we can start exporting them again. But until we meet the standard that they are looking for, it's always difficult for us to export it, because you can export to the European market and it will not be accepted by there.
So what are some major policies that government has taken to boost and turn around the fortunes of the agriculture sector?
If you want to take the whole agri sector, I always look at it that the challenge is not from one particular person. It's not from the government alone. It's not from the farmer alone. It's not from the bankers alone. It's the whole chain needs to be tackled. And if we have to tackle it, then the government has to look at which area will create a rippling effect, which area will create the pull in the system. That when we tackle this area, it will affect the other services. But you cannot blame it solely on the government doorstep, or solely on the banking doorstep, or solely on the production doorstep. Each and every sector have its challenge, and we need to solve them holistically.
We have to go back and find out what can we do better in Ghana to reduce our costs. We must invest more into maize production. We must invest more into soya production. We must invest more into aquaculture. If we are able to do it well, and these things are not short-term investments, they are long-term investments. The state has to set, funds aside. I'm not saying that it should be free, but it should be given to people who are serious.
If successive government thinks Agric is a backbone of the country, Agricultural Development Bank is basically owned by government. What prevents government from recycling their dividend at the end of the year for farmers as a soft loan? Government should really look at the whole sector, the whole agriculture sector as a whole, and see where the policies are not working, then see how best they can get people on board again to re-debate, do you understand, and realign policies against, tailor-made policies.
It is still believed that agriculture remains the best means of alleviating poverty and hunger in Ghana. Therefore, government must channel resources into developing the agricultural sector to make it more productive and profitable for the larger economy.
In Ghana, cassava has almost become a delicacy in various households who use the crop for various consumables. In past times, cassava was almost flooding the markets at a reduced cost. However, in recent weeks, the cost has recorded high prices on some markets. This part of the Agribusiness market is where the cassava traders ply their trade. According to the women, the place is usually busy with consumers briskly engaged in purchases. Today, the situation has, however, changed. There's a shortfall in supply and the commodity has become very expensive. Mame Yakunedu is a trader.
Banchene no mo de bapa ya haya ton ade pa na fie we eja na hihye ye no amemfuo ni nyina hihye eti enema no ho ayedin eja ne kan eti banchene so de aka no unu ayenye eti wo mutumi mfema eti ama banchene bo ayedi ntumi nto eja hihye wo marketing fa de bi eja hihye we kurase ehimfuo no e we kurase e kurabe ase yen ye de ne fibra kwa ebi nso fi asante achim ebi nso fi bron na omode ba na da be na eja na hye ye eja na de be won se be bo so be miensam ye di bro nya wie ye no
We get our supply from Esukuma Dobimbrakwa, Asante Achim, and Bonahafo. However, supply has been bad for the past 4 weeks. Just after the Christmas season last year, most farms in our supply areas got burnt, coupled with bad rains. We haven't had good supply of cassava for the past 4 months. A big bag of cassava was going for 150 Ghana cedis. Now it is sold for between 350 and 400 Ghana cedis. The situation is dire. Now we have to rely on Nzima for supply of cassava, and their cassava come in small sizes.
1.1, 1.2. And can you turn a sack? You turn me say 800, 700, and I'm 1.2, 1.1. Can you buy it?
Inti sisi ankofo beto banchi na omo complain omo ye choba ni omo ye banchi mori ni omo ye gari
omo complain pa fi say buy it uto ahun se be si aton nka ye mo abanchi 500 5 cedis ye mo abanchi 5 cedis ya bo abanchi 2 cedis 1 cedi so na ye bo abanchi 10 cedis 5 cedis ni buy it ni buy it omo eto no aduan omo bre no complain pa ti be bre kura ejai choba for ni bi mo ejai especially how
naturally, consumers bear the brunt of such shortfalls. Auntie Mercy, a consumer who usually buys a bag of cassava at 50 cedis, is now paying 120 Ghana cedis.
Actually, what's 1.2? It's me want can I say 1 million per Nankayafa, Yafandama. Now, a 1.2 a car you budget.
The cassava is really expensive. A bag which used to cost 50 Ghana cedis is now going for 120 cedis. We are praying to God for rains.
But my 500,000. That's 50 Ghana. 50 Ghana.
The effect of the shortfall in cassava supply is evident not only in its sales, but also through the sale of some byproducts like cassava dough and gari. Esther trades in cassava dough here in Accra.
The situation is very frustrating. We are unable to buy the cassava dough lately because of the price. My colleagues have all stopped working and are home now because we keep running at a loss. A bag that used to cost 70 Ghana cedis is now going for 120 Ghana cedis. The bag that used to cost 100 Ghana cedis is now 150 Ghana cedis.
Here at the Agribusiness market is noted for gari business. The story is no different.
I was said I will 8 and 7.
Into Olonka way 8 cedi. Na first number to the same.
Oh, first day I turn 6 cedi and 5 cedi.
Okay, first na 5 cedi and 6 cedis, but say 8 cedi. Any 7 cedi. Now then I 8 and 7.
Woman different. A beyond in the price.
Now where
was 6 over.
Now where you saying?
We are 4 cedi and 350 pesos.
Okay, first number to the same.
We first on 2 cedi 50 pesos and 3 cedi.
Well, what about the price of a bowl of your favorite fufu? Consumers say the size is shrinking while the price keeps soaring. Shop bars and restaurant operators, as well as consumers in general, have been badly hit by the increasing prices of the crop. Manager of the popular heavy do chop bar at Kokomlemle, Sister Ama, explains further. From 2 cedi.
4 cedi 4, 5, 6. It's in 3 cities bill. 4 and 5 and 6.
The cassava is not only expensive,
Most of them go bad after cooking, so it has affected the price of the end product, fufu. We no longer sell fufu for 2 cedis. It is now between 4 cedis and 12 cedis.
According to the Ministry of Agri, Ghana produces about 16 million metric tons of cassava, of which an estimate of about 11 million tons is available for human consumption. Over the last 5 years, there's been a steady growth in demand for commercial and industrial use. Some experts say the switch from the dry season to the rainy season affects the quality of cassava, as the crop is unable to withstand the early part of the rainy season. Well, they say hopefully when the rain sets in, the situation might change. Etonam say, Joy Business.
The crippling competition from other poultry-producing countries compels Ghana to import large amounts of chicken to feed its market. The intervention is aimed at enhancing the poultry industry and improve food security in Ghana. The 5-year project would ensure that poultry farmers are comfortable with their business. At the launch of the FFPR Ghana Poultry Baseline Survey in Kumasi, Dr. Paul Safumensa said the project will largely consist of poultry population-based measurement of statistically significant changes to expand trade of agricultural products.
Of course, we realize that much of the poultry that we consume in the country is imported. Of course, that which is imported is cheaper than what we produce here, but that is also not good for the poultry industry. If it collapses, the people who are associated with the industry, the jobs collapse. So this intervention is very useful and is right on time, that at least as part of the government agenda of creating jobs and also sustaining agriculture and food security, this is a very timely project.
So what are the levels of the interventions here?
The levels of intervention are twofold. One is targeted at what they call the Ghana Poultry Project. And the other one is a long name called Amplify. But that one is targeted at the layer industry to infuse efficiency into the layer industry, the one that they call the Amplify. So these are the two interventions that is coming under this $57 million.
It will be conducted in some selected districts in the Ashanti, Bronkhahafo and Greater Accra regions. The Ghana Statistical Service is collaborating to ensure proper survey results.
In the sense that they didn't work in isolation. They collaborated with Ghana Statistical Service, which is the institution mandated to carry out nationwide surveys, censuses, and therefore we always ensure that the standards and methods are followed. And I mentioned that UN has advised all national statistical offices to ensure that they collaborate with researchers and other MDAs to ensure that they agree with the National Statistics Office so far as the methodology of the survey is concerned, so that we are able to standardize it, as well as the definitions and concepts, the terms that we use. We should have the same meaning. The responses that we use in various surveys should have the same responses, so that in future one can easily compare results from one survey to the other.
Have shunned eating eggs. recent research from US and other Western world has shown that cholesterol, the nutrient, is not a concern to overconsumption. So we are saying that if such a research has come out, then we should make it public for people to know that cholesterol, as we've been hearing, is not a bad thing. It's not an enemy to human health, but it is good for us. So we want to take advantage of this to let the public know that egg consumption is rather good for us. We've seen that egg is not an ordinary food, but it's a superfood. If you eat one egg, you get almost all the nutrients that the body needs. And it is these nutrients, when it is low, that causes diseases and other things. And if the levels of nutrients are very high, it's very difficult for you to get sick. That's why Hippocrates, who is the founder and the father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food." It means we have to eat to get the nutrients that the body needs, instead of even depending on chemicals that we've been taking. And we are taking advantage of this researches that has come out to create awareness for the public to know that egg consumption is rather good for our health. It's not an enemy to us.